Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we're on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
If you're a high-performing salesperson, you know your time is your most valuable asset. So why waste it on tasks that someone else could handle even better? That's where our friends at Work Better Now come in.
Work Better Now virtual assistants are specially trained to help sales professionals like you fully leverage your time. Imagine offloading administrative work, calendar management, data entry, and follow-ups so you can focus on what you do best, building relationships and closing deals.
With a dedicated assistant at your side, you'll have the bandwidth to grow your pipeline, strengthen client connections, and crush your sales goals.
It's simple. Free up your time, maximize your impact. Let Work Better Now help you work smarter, not harder. Your sales career deserves this game-changing advantage.
Visit workbetternow.com today to learn more and get started, because your time isn't just money, it's everything. Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, you know what? Great seeing you as always. So much goodness here happening at Selling from the Heart. Just thankful that we just get to talk to so many wonderful people. Today we're in for a treat.
We are. Get ready for some human design with our new friend, Mel. This is going to be a very interesting conversation. We've got an amazing community. We talk about it every week. We love this growing just tribe of people that believe in building trust, in authenticity, and all of these things that are aspects of selling from the heart. So who are we giving a shout out to this week, Larry?
Oh, yeah, I can't wait. It's Owen Burns, and Owen has been interacting with a lot of Selling from the Heart content. Owen's a great guy. I know he wears his heart on his sleeve. I just want to say thank you for just being part of this community. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. And we're grateful for everybody. My goodness, we're already in the month of Thanksgiving, at least here in the United States. For our Canadian friends, well, we're a little late on that. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're so grateful to everybody who is helping build this movement in this profession we all love. Well, today we're joined by a guide who helps people step out of the grind of overwhelm and into a rhythm of sustainable, heart-centered success. Mel McSherry is an international business and life guide with more than 14 years of experience, helping professionals cut through stress, clarify what matters most, and become the architects of their own success. And what makes Mel unique is her ability to merge human design with traditional sales and business development tools. That means instead of trying to fit into someone else's playbook, you'll learn how to leverage your natural strengths, your energy, and your style, so you can sell more effectively, build deeper relationships, and stay profitably, mentally, emotionally, and financially. She's here with us today. What's going on, Mel? How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm so great. How are you two?
Fantastic. Hey, see that? Hey, Mel, Darrell and I are so in sync, right? You can tell this isn't our first rodeo.
That's right. Cool. Hey, as we get started, you know the question every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers. Mel, what does selling from the heart mean to you?
So I love this question so much because the word sales or selling, I know can be sometimes triggering to people, right? Because we've all been sold to. We know that feeling of like, oh, those cold LinkedIn DMs, those people that are just not listening. And those times where we have said yes to things and then regretted it because we had been coerced or, shifted in ways that we didn't feel comfortable. And so to me, when you're really, truly, quote unquote, selling from the heart, you're not selling, you're sharing. I was mentioning in the green room how my days of network marketing, I really loved the term that they use, facts tell, stories sell. And I'm such a huge believer in that. So when you sell from the heart, to me, that is sharing with someone with no expectations after. It's taking away that, oh, if I talk to 5 people, 3 of them will, get a phone call with me, 2 of them will say yes. It gets you out of that financial profitability focus and flips it to that mental and emotional profitability first. And that's where you really, truly create those partnerships, those relationships, those ideal clients with ease.
Oh, I like this. And we got to expand on this some more, because I'm a big believer. If you detach from the outcome and you let the conversation go where the conversation goes, and it's hard for people to really zero in on this. But I like what you said, as far as we got to shift this mindset from having these financially attached conversations to, you said mindset. And what was the other one that you had mentioned?
So it's mental and emotional profitability and financial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, that's so spot on. These categories are powerful.
Well, and it really, it almost instantly gives you that permission to lean back into it, right? Because I know for me, now I'm going to be completely transparent myself. That was not the way I always did business. That's how I did it when I first started as an entrepreneur 15 years ago, because it was just me. There was no social media. There was no real pressure. I grew up in an entrepreneurial household, so I knew the ropes, basically, of how to start a business and do what I needed and wanted to do. And it wasn't until I got into network marketing, social media started becoming a thing, and I did drink the Kool-Aid of, you can be a millionaire by 30, you can do all these things. And I slowly but surely lost my own way that I was really deeply connected to in the beginning. And human design is what helped me rediscover that, because I got to a point in my journey where in 2020, I been in the business coaching industry for 5 years by that point. And I was making 6 figures. I was traveling all over the world. I was speaking. I was doing all these great things. And I felt so uncomfortable. I felt like none of it was mine. I had no idea why this was success when I couldn't celebrate it, because every time I'd hit a milestone, my former mentor would be like, great, good job. Here's the next one. And it turned out so milestone and financially focused that I lost a lot of the joy in my business, my actual practice and pace of how I'm designed to create the business, the money, and the life that I want.
Man, you are telling the story of so many sales professionals and sales leaders. And I know everyone is leaning in going, wow, okay, yes, you got me on this. You nailed it. You nailed it. So introduce our friends to this concept of human design, because this isn't a term that I don't think we've even addressed on the podcast. And I love this concept of human design. Could you give us a flyover of what that is?
Absolutely. Yeah. So human design is a combination of 7 different modalities. So it utilizes astrology, I Ching, Kabbalah, chakras, and quantum physics. And what it does is it shows you your energetic blueprint. So it shows you how you are uniquely designed to create what you want. And how I utilize it, and one of the main reasons why I love it is it tells you what you already know about yourself, but it's the physical proof. I always like to say it's the why behind your how. So for a lot of us in any sort of entrepreneurship or leadership or sales position, we have these dreams, right? We have these ideas. And then the first overwhelming thought is, well, how? And that's where we tend to lose ourselves, because we instantly seek for that expert answer. We seek for that outside, framework or formula or, funnel that's going to magically provide this for us, instead of checking in on ourselves going, okay, how do I like to quote unquote sell? What is my energy like? How do I like to interact with people, and in what, platforms and in what ways? And that's what human design shows you. It shows you your strengths and strategies and your stopping points, so you can truly create a sustainable pace inside of your business or inside of your journey that is going towards success in a way that becomes just more easeful. Yes, you still have your days. We're human. We're still in this environment that is 2025. And yet it gives you that space where you can come back to yourself and go, okay, I know this is to be true. I know these are the spaces that I can rock out. And I know that this is the pace and the process that I'm designed to have this success through.
Oh, I like this. Why is this so important? I mean, I totally get this, but there might be some listeners out there that are unsure. Why is all this so important, especially if we look at this to the day in the life of somebody in sales, because it's just so chaotic?
Yeah, but it brings you back to yourself, right? You are the main reason why we like, know, and trust people is because we've got to know them on a level that is deeper than surface. It might not be, your best friends and you know everything about each other. But the reason I think sales is really shifting is because we're done with the cut and dry, give me 60 seconds, I'll give you 60K promises. We want to know who's behind those promises. We want to know what they've been through. And when you understand your human design, you know how to communicate that. You know how to utilize your time and energy effectively so you can consistently be in the right places, be available when you want to be available, and really understand, even on the other side of the coin, the fact that people make decisions differently. So it alleviates a lot of that pressure that we put on ourselves of who we think we need to be in order to create what we want, and really helps us ground in and trust who we are already, how that is more than enough, and how to understand not only your cadence in your process, but understand others as well. So you're not hustling, you're not chasing, you're not, pursuing, you are sharing, you're sharing, you're holding space, and you're being there in a place where people can just go, well, yeah, of course I'm going to buy from Larry. Like, duh, because you've already come from a place of true authenticity.
I love it. We're such big advocates here at Selling from the Heart for doing the inner work and really knowing yourself. And there's so many different ways to do that. The journey of discovering yourself and what makes you tick and purpose and all of that. So important for a sales professional to understand. I'm really fascinated by this concept of just understanding then how that affects, how that perspective of understanding everyone is designed in a unique way also goes through to their decision-making processes and the decision-making processes of everybody that we encounter. That there's a unique, not everybody makes personal or business decisions in the same way, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, inside of human design, it's called your authority. And there's actually 7 different authorities. And the interesting thing is that we are taught as salespeople, as entrepreneurs, that, when it's the full body, hell yes. And you got to connect to those pain points and you have to, find that emotional connection. The thing is, though, is that about 70% of us are what's called an emotional authority, which means if we're in any state of emotion, whether that's high or low, we need to sleep on it and we need to ask more questions and we need to get more clarity before we can get comfortable with making a decision. And so when you kind of put it into that perspective, those one-liners of trust your gut. In human design, that's a sacral authority. And again, that's probably only about 25% of the population that are supposed to trust their gut. So it really helps you pull back from those generalities and really connect to that person of, again, and trusting that they know how they make their best decisions. The ones that are instantaneous, they're called splenic. Guess what? They're actually might change their mind or ask more questions or be a little bit flip-floppy because they make decisions on the minute, almost every minute. So it's understanding, one, who are the people that you tend to attract? What is their decision-making process? And not mess with it. Enjoy the fact. Like for me, a lot of my people are emotional authorities. So I know that they'll say yes to me anywhere from 2 days to sometimes 2 years after we've talked. And because I know that, I know how to structure my marketing. I know how to structure my quote unquote sales calls. I know how to structure all of that around that quote unquote slower pace. So it doesn't seem slow. It just becomes that snowball effect.
Oh, so this is good. This is good stuff. So now here's the question. How does somebody, so I'm going to put myself in the sales role for just a moment, Mel. So then how does somebody who's selling, who's sitting across from Darrell, how do I know what style Darrell is just based on having that conversation with him? Is he emotional, or does Darrell operate on gut? What are the signs I'm looking for? Help me out with this.
Honestly, I like to just straight up ask people, how have you made your most profitable decisions? And they tell me. And a lot of the time it's like, oh, I just go for it in the moment and it always seems to work out. Great. You're probably a splenic or a sacral. Brill. Or like, I tend to make decisions rather quickly, but then I tend to change my mind. Okay, also splenic. Or I really need to sleep on it and I'll probably ask you a million questions. Great. That's actually one of the first questions I tend to ask people once we get into that point of a conversation, once we get to know each other and want to pursue or continue on this conversation, is I just ask, so looking back, how have you made your most profitable decisions up until now?
Such a great question.
I want to put a highlighter on this.
Yeah.
This is really a fantastic question because, look, I mean, I'm like a let's go, right? And so,
I'll pump the brakes.
Yeah, there's a whole other dynamic, right? Yeah, it's a business partner thing. But seriously though, I will get into my if I project my decision making preference, bias towards that, and I get off a call and somebody's not excited about it and ready to go, what's the next step? How soon can we get going? I leave a lot of those. I can have a tendency to leave a lot of those to go, man, I really blew that. What did I need to do different so they would be excited? And I think this perspective to go, wait a sec. And we all know it. If we hit pause and go, yeah, not everybody makes, just being Larry, right? I'm like, let's go. Larry's going to want clarity and to really understand something. And so I think this, like just this framework, as we kind of pause here and put a highlighter on this of going, not everybody makes decisions like you do.
Absolutely.
And that's okay. It's okay. But knowing and asking that question, Mel, I think that is a really, really brilliant question. How have you made your best decisions in the past?
Yeah. And I would say too, you are your ideal client, your ideal sales. So you will probably find that the people who do purchase from you or work with you make the decisions in the exact same way you do. Not all the time, but like attracts like. And so honoring that as well of, if somebody's listening and going, well, everybody I seem to make gut decisions, or everybody seems, like I said, seems to take their time. Well, yeah, that's because that's probably how you make decisions. So that's how you word it. That's how you position it, because that's how you would want to be, quote unquote, sold to. And I think that's important to understand as well. Like, talk to your ideal client or your ideal salesperson as you would want to be talked to, because it's that relationship that's going to make that connection so much more profitable and probably in a lot longer way, because you are already coming from a space that is from yourself first, that is connecting to a like person, and you're treating them and trusting them the exact same way that you would want to be treated and trusted.
You know what I like about this? I just like rapid fire. This was just rolling through my head. I just went back like 20 years. 25 years as I was listening to what you're saying. And I look back and the word that comes to mind is alignment, Mel, is I look back on all of the really great clients that I had from my past. And we had alignment. We had alignment of values, right? We thought the same way, and they became really profitable clients.
Yeah.
But then when you flip this around, you go, some of like the horrible ones, right? However you define horrible, right? We all know who those are. There wasn't any alignment of values, right? I was like trying to put a round peg in a square hole just to make a sale.
Yeah. And I've had the exact same reflections of, clients who have fired me. There was 1 month in my business, and that's when I knew I'd gone way too far against who I am as a person and how I like to, quote unquote, sell. I had 2 clients in 1 month fire me. And I was so grateful that they did, because it was from that place of when I was with my former mentor of, but I got to get my numbers. She's going to ask me, and I need to make sure that I've done da 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 da. And it was such a wake up call to me. And again, that not the first red flag, but definitely one of the bigger ones of I need to change something, and it's not an external change. I need to go back to myself, and I didn't even know what that looked like until human design found me. Somebody talked about it at my first spiritual retreat that I went to in 2020. I looked up my chart and I was like, oh, there it is. There's the why behind my how. That's why this worked the way that it did. That's why this didn't work. That's why this felt so gross. It gives you that validation and confirmation of what you already know to be true, because we all live and work inside of our human design naturally. We just don't know where to stop or start for the most part. And it shows you those pullback spaces to where, again, you can go, oh yeah, this worked beautifully. That's where I went too far. So next time I'm going to stop here, and I'm either going to bring somebody else in to do X, Y, Z, or I'm just going to stop and see what the next piece of information that I receive that I can use, that I can then build off of on my own. So it really creates a customization to your sales process and to who you are and how you show up in those spaces.
I'm thinking, about, thank you for pronouncing the letter Z correctly.
You can thank my international clients. It's stuck and it's never left.
That's good from one Canadian. But I'm thinking about, just even a sales call I was on earlier today with multiple decision makers, and so many of our friends, really all of us, I think, in just almost any sales scenario, there's multiple decision makers and influencers involved. And so now, and I'm just reflecting back on this conversation this morning. One of the people in the call was like, yeah, let's go. I love this. Let's do this. Let's do this. The other, I could tell, wanted more detail. And then I was like, oh, come on, let's go. And I think it's kind of interesting. I'm curious your thoughts for friends when we were thinking back on this style in which people make decisions. How do you handle that inside a team? Hey, look, we've got data too that 67% roughly of deals are stuck in pipelines and not moving forward. And I think this might have something to do with it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because I don't think there's any one thing you can peg down to do better the next time. It's one of those things of, that's where it can turn into like a numbers game, right? If you're reaching out to, 2 major corporations that, 4 people inside of each of those have to make the decision, and you're just waiting on that and not doing anything else, then yeah, that's not going to turn into something that is quote unquote consistent. So that's where knowing your human design can really come into play of how much energy do you have? Where else can you talk? What else can you do? Where else can you share? So you're keeping up at least that momentum for yourself inside of that, while you're quote unquote waiting, because all of us actually have an element, not all of us, 90% of us have an element of wait inside of our strategies, inside of human design. So to know that 90% of people have to wait for more information or wait to be invited, that also goes, okay. So even when people have an instantaneous yes, again, those instantaneous people are going to need more information 2-3 days, weeks, months later, and you might have to go back and have another conversation. So I think it's one of those things of, yes, understanding that everybody's different. To Larry's point earlier, and what I mentioned, at the beginning with how to sell from the heart, not being so obsessive about the transaction or the outcome. Know your follow-up process. What does that look like? For me, that's what I like to call, silently stalking. I just stay on their radar. I like their posts on Instagram. I comment on their things on LinkedIn. I go to their events if they're hosting any, and if I can, and am I available, to just show that I'm genuinely wanting to be a part of this corporation, of this company, of this business. And it's those little things. Brendan Burchard has a great quote that I'm shocked I don't have tattooed on my body somewhere, where he says, it's the little things you do every day that make the biggest difference. And it is those little things when you're creating relationships inside of sales that do go such a long way. And to not get caught up in the right now. So maybe it is a no right now. How can you still support them? If this is a company you really want to be a part of, how can you support them? Because guess what? Probably that means there's something else that's going to open up for you later that's going to be even better because you have more information and they got to know you better as well.
You know what's interesting is I'm sitting here thinking like a sales leader, sales manager for a second, going, man, if I could just change my approach to how I work with my salespeople to understand that it's not all foot on gas pedal all the time. Because I think, now granted, I got to say this with some clarity. We got to drive sales. We have to drive sales, and we have to drive them, consistently and with profit, hopefully. But we have to understand that every seller sells differently. Every buyer buys differently. And I think what happens sometimes is the transactional approach that salespeople take, where the hammer's on the ground and the foot's on the gas pedal, has to come from above. So I think people from above got to realize that they need to bring some of this into the conversation with their salespeople. They got to coach their salespeople to understand this. There's got to be alignment internally before there's alignment externally. If you're all tracking where I'm going with this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I have those conversations even with, my entrepreneurs in regards to, their pace and their process and their sustainability inside of their success. And it is finding, there's that fear, especially inside of entrepreneurship, that like for myself, there's a million different human design practitioners out there. I know that, but guess what I don't do? I don't buy anybody else's how to sell human design courses because it's based off of their design and what has ring true for them. I actually don't buy anybody's sales courses because it's based off of what they practice. It's when you understand who you are, and I love that human design is coined the science of differentiation. When you really lean into your uniqueness and your individuality, that automatically creates more cohesive sales because you're not trying to be somebody else. I'm not trying to be Brenda Bouchard. I'm not trying to be any other person in the quote unquote coaching industry. I tried that, didn't really work. That's how, you find those plot twists and you move on. And it taught me so much of that. You're the singular most profitable point in your business and in your life. So when you align yourself with that and trust that your uniqueness is more than enough to attract who you want to attract, that's where that letting go can come from. And really, again, circling back to what we've mentioned before, have those cohesive, fluid sales talks that just become, almost never ending.
So good. Well, Mel, thank you. Thank you for sharing your heart with us today and your passion for all of this. I know our listeners are thinking, how do I get more Mel in my life?
Absolutely. So I always say you can respectfully stalk me online. You can you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Mel McSherry, or on Instagram at Mel_McSherry. Also, if you've been listening and you have a lot of questions, if things feel connected, but you want to really connect the dots in a space that is no pressure, no sales, I do offer complimentary 30-minute virtual coffees, and you can schedule one of those at virtualcoffeewithmel.com.
Wonderful.
So good.
Thank you. What a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for sharing your heart with us today, Mel.
Thank you so much. The pleasure was absolutely mine.
Oh, it's ours as well. Thank you.
I love this concept of obviously the authenticity, and we spent a lot of time thinking about, hey, not everybody is the same. We all know that, but I think we come to this assumption that, well, they didn't say yes, they didn't do what I expected them to do. Well, of course they didn't. They're different. So let's understand there's different ways that people buy. And I love that question she said early on, Larry, about, hey, previous successful decisions that you've made, how did that work for you? I think that's something we can all take with us and put to work right away.
Hey, I tell you what, it's one of the best open-ended questions I've heard in a long time. And there's another thing I just have to throw out there before you wrap this up is we as sellers, we have to become better. And I'm talking to sellers and leaders on this now. We got to detach from the outcomes of these conversations, because when we're so deeply attached to these conversations, I believe it's hard to connect and it's hard to really listen. And you'll pick up on a lot of what we were talking about with Mel if you could just simply detach from the outcome.
Oh, so much good stuff. Just great conversation here. Today, we got lots of great conversations coming up. So make sure to like or subscribe. And if we haven't seen you on YouTube, or I guess I should say, if you haven't seen all of us on YouTube, we really would love for you to go by our YouTube channel, click subscribe, and you can see all the fun stuff that happens behind the scene of this audio show you've been listening to for years. Just go to YouTube and search for Selling from the Heart.
Yeah, plus you get to see that Darrell and I have some major investment in hair and makeup artists. So, I mean, we spare no expense here at Selling from the Heart.
Everything for our audience. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for liking and sharing this episode with your friends and your peers and your clients. We really, really appreciate you. So till next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, be intentional about your design as a human being, and most of all,
Sell from the heart.